This podcast is sponsored by Lightens. Lightens, your best source for OE quality automotive and heavy-duty accessory drive tensioning devices. We know tensioners because we invented them.
Daryl, welcome to Babcox World Headquarters and AMN Drivetime, sponsored by our good friends at Lightens. Great to have you here.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
So, Daryl, you've had a very interesting professional history, ranging from the beer industry to chocolates to automotive lubricants, and now your current role at MANN+HUMMEL.
Mm-hmm.
If you would, tell us a little bit about your professional background and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah. So, I've had one of the things I mention is that I have a mechanical engineering degree, and I started my career actually working in manufacturing plants. I worked for General Mills for 5 years and decided that I would actually rather be on the growth side of business as opposed to on the supply side of it. And so switched and moved into actually working in marketing with Frito-Lay in the PepsiCo organization. Spent some time there before joining Diageo in the beverage alcohol business. Then I spent some time at Mars, chocolate, e-commerce, and with Castrol, where I kind of got into automotive. It was a nice bridge between consumer products and the automotive space, which I think really helped to develop me and have the things that were needed with MANN+HUMMEL and helping to build and drive the filter business. There's some things actually about working in consumer products in particular that I really appreciate and look to bring even more of into this automotive space. It is about having a deep understanding about customers and what they need and how they operate, developing brand propositions and products that really help to fulfill those needs, oftentimes for things people don't require, but they do it out of choice. And so helping to make sure that in these brands and in these products that actually are required in the automotive aftermarket space, that the brands actually live up to those expectations and that we deliver the innovation and new products and new thinking that help to keep our customers engaged, interested, and wanting to continue to spend time with our brands.
Terrific. What a great background, Daryl. So that said, what was your very first paying job, and what did they pay an hour?
Yeah, so actually, and I grew up, my father was a bit of a serial entrepreneur, but when I was in high school, he ran a juice distribution company in Chicago. And so I guess, even though father's kid working in the space, my first paying job was actually picking orders in this juice distribution warehouse and preparing them to be shipped out and delivered to the stores that my father's business served. It's hard to remember, it was quite a few years ago how much I got paid. Yep. It may have just been, dinner and roof over my head at the time. But I think it was a neighborhood of like $6 an hour or something like that, okay, working in the warehouse that my dad was running at the time.
Well, working in a family business, that counts.
Yeah.
That counts. You know what they say about nepotism? It's okay as long as you keep it in the family. So, Daryl, have you found your experience in the other consumer products industries, you touched on it a little bit, has given you a leg up in your role in the aftermarket, or some special insights that you're bringing to the business?
Yeah. I think if I can, think about a little bit what the businesses that I worked in, like I said, prior to working in the automotive space, chocolate, beverage alcohol, snack foods. Those are not things that people absolutely need. It is things that they want to be associated with.
I'm not sure about that. I think I need snack foods.
Every now and again. No, I mean, but they don't have the same kind of specification requirements and the fit and form portions that go into some of these businesses that we work in the automotive aftermarket.
Right.
It is all about creating a brand image and having a meaning and a value proposition that people want, people desire, that people, even sometimes against their own interest, may choose. And so I want to have an unfair advantage against the competitors that I work with. And I believe that one of the ways that you do that, in addition to having great products, is by having great brands that have meaning for people and that go deeper than just the fit and form, but also makes a connection to them on a level that is beyond just the fit and form. And so that's a important part of what I want to bring, or what I believe I bring into this industry, that's sometimes different than what other people with different long-term experiences in the industry may do. So this is part of what I think is really important and what we want to drive at MANN+HUMMEL and with our brands.
You joined MANN+HUMMEL in the thick of the pandemic. You started in October of 2020. The pandemic started in March of 2020. None of us will ever forget that, right? What was it like jumping in, new job, new industry, in the midst of the pandemic?
Yeah, it's strange. I certainly can say that. As you mentioned, October 2020, many businesses, including MANN+HUMMEL, were mostly remote.
Yeah.
And so I was living in New Jersey at the time, and so I started working there pretty much 100% remotely. Obviously, different times and how to build relationships with coworkers, learn the business and the industry, and also get to meet our customers and get to go and see how their businesses operate and build the kind of relationships that are really important, certainly in this industry, and getting to know people who make a difference with our customers and in our industry. And so it took a lot of those extra steps of always using my camera whenever you have those Teams meetings or Zoom meetings, trying to make that extra effort to reach out to people and get to know them, and not have all of the conversations be just about the business, but a lot more of the getting to know you things that you have to push yourself to do differently when you're joining a new company at that time, during that time. And
so as we sit here in the end of March of 2023, what is the philosophy at MANN+HUMMEL now about in the office? Are you guys in the office every day, or some days, or what's the protocol?
Yeah, so we are in the office every day, with the flexibility to spend 2 days working remotely if needed. But we are in the office every day. It is important, to build relationships. People who are relatively new to the organization, to start to have that ability to make the kind of connections with their coworkers, and also do the collaboration and building ideas together, and talking about things that you weren't necessarily expecting to talk about, that can lead to ideas that are different, and some fresh thinking that comes from it.
Yeah, Jamie Dimon talks about instant combustion, and it's tough to have instant combustion on Zoom, and works better face-to-face. Purolator, it's one of your very well-known brands, of course, is celebrating its Centennial this year. It's going to be 100 years.
Yep.
Where and how, for the benefit of our AMN audience, did Purolator get its start? Who started it? Where was it? What was the impetus?
Yeah, so actually, one of the things that you mentioned, 100 years, it's great to join a company like Babcox, actually, that's been around for over 100 years as well. And so you have to do the right things for your customers in order to earn the ability to be around and add value for over 100 years. And so to be a part of a brand and a business that's been able to do that is just something I think is fantastic. And like I said, we're joining good company with many brands, and so that's really exciting place to be. So Purolator is actually one of those interesting names out there. And so Purolator comes from you looking at the words. If you are changing your oil and you have pure oil now, and then you have pure oil later or Purolator. And so that's actually where the name Purolator came from. The inventor of the oil filter 100 years ago, based in Fayetteville, North Carolina, is where the business had its start, and where we currently have our operations for the Purolator business today. And so it is, again, great to be a part of a brand that has earned the right to be in our customers' lives for over 100 years. And we look forward, actually, to being a part of that and earning that place in people's lives for the next 100 years as well.
I was not aware of that, of the genesis of that name. That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
What's the company being? What is MANN+HUMMEL doing, or what have you planned to recognize this major milestone of 100 years? Do you have some things going on for it?
Yeah. So we like I said, think this is a really, really important milestone, and so there are a couple of ways that we want to continue to celebrate the 100 years. A big part of it actually is engaging with our employee and MANN+HUMMEL community about this 100-year anniversary, and getting them actually energized and excited actually to continue to do more and add that value for our customers and going forward. We also have like some significant advertising and promotional activity that we've planned. We have this new 100-year logo lockup with 100 years, with the 2 zeros being infinity, because this filtration for now and for the future is a big part of what we're doing with Purolator. We have some sweepstakes activities that we are going to be doing this year to help to support it. And a lot of the communication and advertising that we're going to do is going to come back to celebrating the 100-year anniversary of Purolator. So, you mentioned that I worked in the beer business.
Yeah.
I was actually working on the Guinness brand when it crossed over 250 years of Guinness.
Wow.
And one of the things that I learned back then from an agency perspective is that people don't mind you patting yourself on the back for reaching a milestone, but what they really want to know is what that means for them in the future, and what you're gonna do for them now. And so it's one of the important things that we want to make sure that we're doing is to continue to develop and innovate on this brand for the future of Purolator, and also make sure that we are supporting activities to engage our consumers and customers in a meaningful way that helps them to understand the value that having that 100 years brings into their businesses. And so that's what we're doing.
So heritage is great, but what have you done for me lately, right?
Absolutely. So one of the things that I did want to talk about that we're also doing with Purolator, the fastest growing segment in automotive filtration is actually the cabin air filter. And so a big part of what we're going to be doing in our 100-year communication is actually bringing to life the value that we add with our cabin air filtration. Particularly around the Purolator Boss cabin air filters. We have a partnership with P&G, and so with Febreze and the Febreze brand, and so Purolator Boss cabin air filters deliver Febreze freshness as well in this fastest growing category. So a part of looking ahead is going to be about how we can actually continue to build the Purolator Boss cabin air filters, something that's going to be there for now and for the future, even as we move into things like electric vehicles or whatever the propulsion system is. Right. For vehicles. One thing that certainly is about the people inside the vehicle and that we are going to help to deliver more value in is helping to take care of the people or the pets inside the vehicle with freshness and fresh air that comes through your cabin air filter.
Let's talk sustainability. It's getting a lot of notoriety these days. Obviously, is a very key player in the filtration business with the brands Wix, Purolator, and others. What are MANN+HUMMEL's thoughts about sustainability, and are you going to play a role in sustainability?
Yeah, so it's interesting. You know, MANN+HUMMEL is a filtration company, and so our product lines are all about filtration. We are really focused in the space of filtration. And when you look at the mission that we have as a business, it's really three-pronged. So it is about clean air, clean water, and clean mobility. So those of us who work in the automotive aftermarket are very much focused on the clean mobility part. But the projects and activities that MANN+HUMMEL is doing beyond that, a lot of them are about clean air and clean water. And so there are two prongs to what that means for us in terms of MANN+HUMMEL's role in sustainability. So, of course, like many big corporations, we have our own targets and goals about reducing our carbon footprint and making our products long-term more sustainable. And then a second part of it is the partnership that we have and how we can help our customers to deliver on their sustainability goals as well. So a lot of the goals that people have about reducing their carbon footprint or clean air or not having a negative impact on the environment actually can't be done without filtration. And so your business or another business can't deliver on clean air or clean water or not having a negative impact on the environment without having effective filtration. And so we are providing solutions that actually help to deliver on that and help our customers to reach their sustainability goals, which is a very important part of what we're doing. When it comes to the automotive and clean mobility space, we are innovating and developing new products that actually will help to make the experience better for automotive as well. And so I'll talk about, one, we talked a little bit about cabin air filters already, which help to make the environment inside your vehicle better for you and your passengers. A couple of other innovations that we are developing and or launching. One is brake dust filter. And so, one of the biggest contaminants that vehicles actually emit is actually the brake dust, that friction and the materials that come off in that friction. Where do they go? And so we have a solution that is a brake dust filter, which will help to take those contaminants out of the environment. Another one of the biggest contaminants that happen is actually the debris that comes off of tires as you go through the road. And so we have a fine dust filter that will go like on the front of a vehicle that will actually collect the debris that comes off of the vehicles in front of you and actually help again as another way to help to improve the environment. So we see those as two of the kind of sustainability activities that we're doing in the automotive space that will apply to, both commercial and light-duty vehicles as we continue to develop those programs over time.
So sustainability is a sweet spot for you guys.
Absolutely.
Naturally.
Yes, it is critical for us and the future of our business, as well as the future of our customers and partners as we can help to make them more sustainable with filtration.
So Daryl, you have lived all over the country, I know, but I also understand you are an avid traveler. And maybe a professional traveler of sorts. What are your favorite places and what is on the docket in the near future?
Yeah. So I'll tell you a couple of places that really stand out for me. It's interesting. I lived in Kenya for a couple of years when I was working in the beer industry, and so I worked there, and it was a great experience for me. And so I got a text from my niece saying, "Hey, I'm going to Nairobi. Can you tell me a couple of places that are great to go and visit?" And so, I loved living there and going around, seeing some of the wildlife and safaris, great people as well there. And so, I told my niece, "Oh, you've got to go to the elephant and giraffe orphanage." And so where, you can go and interact with these animals and things like that, things that, we don't get a chance to see very often here. And so, that's one place that I wanted to mention, which was, a fantastic place to live and to visit. Another one, I had a cousin actually who was doing an international assignment in the Philippines, and we went. My wife and I visited my cousins living in Manila, and it's like one of the most densely populated cities in the world, but it was like such a great experience to get to see and know the culture there. We spent part of our time in Cebu, which is one of the islands that has beautiful beaches and beautiful places to visit. But the fresh fruits and the mango, it's like well known for that. The different culture and the food was another thing that we really enjoyed, those two places.
It's Manila. I'm thinking about there was an Ali fight in Manila, the Thrill in Manila. Was it against Joe Frazier or George Foreman?
I think that was against Joe Frazier.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. And is anything coming up? Do you have anything on the docket in the coming year?
Yeah. So
you've probably been landlocked with COVID for a few years.
We have been to a degree, and so but one of the places, before the interview started, we were talking about Ferrari and Italy and things like that, and so it's one of the places that my wife and I have been talking about going to visit, and we are going to go and do a tour there, right around Labor Day.
Oh, terrific. Mm-hmm. So, Daryl, it's great to have you here. It is tradition at AMN Drivetime, sponsored by our friends at Lightens, to have what we call a lightning round.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you eight quick questions, and you're going to have to make a quick decision. You're going to have to make a choice.
Okay. All right.
All right?
Let's do it.
All right. You ready?
Let's do it.
You sure?
I'm not sure, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it.
All right. Apple or Android?
Apple.
City or country?
City.
Road trips or air travel?
Ooh, that's a tough one because I do a lot of air travel, which actually makes road trips more fun. So I'm going to go with road trips.
All right. Favorite dish or favorite cuisine to cook at home?
I'm going to go with some Brazilian food just to connect back to my wife's home country.
Nice. Favorite Mars, where you worked at one point. Favorite Mars chocolate product?
Peanut M&Ms.
Good call. Favorite restaurant in Charlotte?
So I got two definitions of favorite.
Okay.
So one is the place you go most often, and the other one is the place that you like the most, right?
Okay.
And so the one that I go most often is Jim and Nick's. It's a barbecue place that it's an easy for my wife and I to get in and out. We get to know the folks that work there. And the one that we like the most is La Belle Helene, which is a French restaurant in Uptown.
Wow, barbecue to French. Mm-hmm. Okay. Language you are most fluent in?
English.
How about second?
Portuguese.
Okay. Third?
Spanish, Swahili, those are the things I touch on.
All right. Okay. How do you say automotive aftermarket in Espanol?
Oh, that's a great, I don't know how to say aftermarket in Espanol. You'll have to, we'll have to come back on that one. Yeah, you did. You said it was a lightning round. I had to go quick, and that one didn't come. Right.
Daryl, great to have you on AMN Drivetime, sponsored by Lightens.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
This podcast is sponsored by Lightens. Lightens, your best source for OE quality automotive and heavy-duty accessory drive tensioning devices. We know tensioners because we invented them.